got a ton of volunteers out there,
Yeah.
young college kids, so Jacob can clamor to the ladies, and he was super excited. He was bummed out when he saw the dude standing there, and he realized, now Emma's going to be yours. God, which Jill knows. I mean, she knows. There's nothing that you and I probably know, and just knowing the time that she's known Jacob,
Oh yeah,
she knows it all.
You
It's
know
all like,
everything.
yeah,
All
she's.
All the
So anyway, first of all, I would love to thank Miss Jill for coming and hanging out with us. You know,
Absolutely.
being part. You know, it's nice to have you be a part of the number one podcast in the country with two bearded
Right.
Number
bearded
one.
dudes that
Okay.
are mentally unstable.
Okay.
So don't look it up.
Award-winning.
I know
Don't look it
where-
up. It is award winning, but don't look it up. It's
Yeah.
you just trust what
It's
I'm
all-
saying.
Take your
here.
word.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But I am, as far as an introduction to Miss Jill, it's probably not going to be one that you're ever going to see on an award show. It's one of those things that when we, in the process of what we're trying to do with our boys and with our future, what in the world can we do, and what's kind of the process, with Jill when I met her, and please hear where I'm going with this.
Hear me
Please, yeah, hear me
me
out.
I got you. You
Okay.
cannot hurt my feelings. It's fine.
I sat there and we first were introduced and kind of to know what the project was
Yeah.
and what, you know, the processes of things. I met with Jill, and she even holds, she's got like a thing about her when she's looking through you and like, I'm trying to figure you out.
Yeah.
Like that mental,
Processing.
I'm like, you know, she even holds a pencil aggressively
Yeah.
to where you're like, oh, what's the story here? And then it gets to the point to where she knows stuff. I'm looking at Danielle going, okay, I didn't buy those magazines just to read the articles. All right, is that what you want to know? But it was just one of those things. I'm like, you get to a point in your life with your kids that you're like, you're so used to one dynamic working with them, and it's always the nurture and
Sure.
it's the this and it's the that. But then you get to the next step, and it's like, okay, you've had that.
Tough love.
Now we're going to
Yeah.
show you what you need. And as parents, we didn't know it. I had no idea what we needed at all.
Sure.
But it was a matter of when we first met Jill, it was like, she's gonna destroy me and the kids. But what we quickly saw is just the process of like, you finally realize as parents that we've had that same thing with the kids. We've had this, and now we're so comfortable with it. But we saw the process of like, oh my gosh, this is exactly where we need to be. And I may be jumping way ahead on the accolades and things, and I will definitely use like a wire brush on my tongue and take a nice cold shower because I said nice things about you. But it was just something that was so welcoming, but so like we saw like, oh my gosh, things are getting ready to happen. We've wanted it, we've talked about it, we've thought about it, and then oh my gosh, I mean, look at this. It got to the point to where it's like Jacob at home, he would, when it were time to do things like get ready for work or whatever it was that we had to do, Jacob was in there. Finally, he's like, oh, I gotta get it. I'm gonna call Miss Jill. Oh, I know. I'm gonna get my stuff lined out. I've got to have my clothes ready.
Yeah, boy.
It's not your job anymore to do it, Dad.
Cool.
Now, but there were some times I was like, you know, I was right. Do I need to call Jill? No, Dad. I got it. I'm on it.
So before we go into how you
Yeah,
first
yeah.
like because like that would be interesting to like how did this how
I'm
did
sure this is the mix and
happen?
matches.
Who are you? Where did you come from?
I'm Jill.
Hi, Jill.
I had a mother and father.
Okay,
That's right.
Naturally,
Yeah.
naturally.
So I cannot tell you why I am doing what I'm doing in the place that I'm doing. I feel
Sure.
like that God put me there.
Absolutely.
I did not grow up with people with disabilities. I did not desire to be a teacher.
Sure.
It just happened.
Yep.
So it's the place I'm supposed to be. So I am a special ed teacher for life.
Okay.
I've done it for 24 years. I started a little late,
Mm-hmm.
and I started with students with multiple disabilities
Yeah.
in elementary. So I moved up to high school
Mhm.
in kind of a life skills class.
Cool.
So a variety of people, but everybody walked and talked and fed themselves.
Sure.
So a little bit different kind
Yeah,
of
different vibe.
as
Yeah,
far as
different
teaching and
needs.
different skills.
Sure. Sure.
So I got to see lots of different things
Mm.
at high school. Got to work with some kids with just learning disabilities and realized they're not my bag.
Yeah.
But now that's kind of the population that I work with. So that was a great teaching tool
It's
for
an
me.
evolution, I think, too. Sometimes of like
Yeah.
where you start and then you try things, you
Yeah.
see what you like,
Yeah.
you know. So that's normal.
Because we should learn. We
Yeah.
should continually learn as people and
Absolutely.
grow. And not just as students. I think kids think when they get out of school they're done with that, and they're definitely not. Right?
Definitely not. Are you still a special education teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
So now I work at a career tech, and
Got
I work with young adults. So
Got it.
18 to 24 is the population that I'm working with now.
Gotcha.
And I work at the program that I run is called Project Search, and it's a worldwide program that's designed to help young adults find employment.
So cool.
General job training and employability skills. So we're not trying to teach specific skills. We don't want to put somebody to work as a welder. Don't know how to do that. Can't teach that.
Okay, so it's not like a VOTech kind of a thing where we're just focusing on teaching this one trade. Or
Well, it
something.
actually is at a tech school. So I work for Canadian Valley Technology
At a
Center.
VOTech,
Yeah.
not a specific one.
But it is a
program
different kind of
thing.
program. It's
Cool.
a partnership.
That's
So
awesome.
we have lots of partners that are help us with funding, help us with making sure we're on the right track,
Cool.
and so it's not your typical VOTech program
Sure.
where there's just one focus.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
Wow, that's fascinating.
So it really gives those young people that want to work, which is not and are capable of working in the community, an opportunity to grow and get job ready. That's what we're looking for. A lot of these kids, even Jacob, could probably have gone and gotten a job on his own, but he wouldn't have been able to keep the job
Yeah.
because he didn't have the skills needed to be
Maintain.
responsible, understand professionalism. You know, a lot of those things that kids with disabilities of all kinds, not even kids with disabilities, young people
In general,
tend
totally.
to not understand that when they don't get hours at work anymore, they got fired.
It's a sign.
But those words are never said, so they're like, I've never gotten
Yeah,
fired.
we call that the hidden curriculum.
Well,
in social thinking. Yeah.
You have gotten fired, you just didn't get to help. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people could really benefit from this, but it's really cool because
Absolutely.
it's a very small program. It's lots of input. We help them understand constructive criticism, so they're able to hear it and not,
Fall.
I'm bad. But
Yeah.
they also know you're going to fail, and
Yeah.
that's part of life.
Sure.
Understanding that you didn't do it right or you did
That's okay.
whatever, and
Absolutely.
you can come back tomorrow and try
Totally.
again.
Wow. That's so cool. What school? Where are you actually located?
So our host site is at Integris Canadian Valley in Yukon. Hospital.
Okay, I was going to say that sounds like a hospital.
So
not a
they're
VOTech.
they're typically so we have a host site. We have a school partner, we have a business partner, we have a DRS, Department of Rehab Services, as part of our partnership. Dale Rogers is our employment consultant. So if I'm not able to find them jobs at the end of the program, then Dale Rogers will come in and help and get them jobs.
So
Typically, we get them jobs, so we've been really very
Good
successful
track
with that.
record.
But we've got a backup if that. So those are our kind of our
Wow.
partnerships.
That's huge.
Yeah, and
So
then
it's not just like you, a standalone program,
Right.
and like good luck everyone, but like you've got like
Yeah.
connections and all
and
that
those
too.
partners, we meet once a month and we talk
Wow.
about what's going on. So if they have ideas that can totally, when I'm stymied, I don't know what to do, I've got somebody else to ask and
Wow.
just, throw ideas off of, and that's really helpful.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, and a lot of
Awesome.
what I love about you and your family is that you want not just for your children, but you want your community to be different. You want it to be a systemic change, and
Definitely.
that's what those partnerships help with. Because I can fight all day, but I'm only one, and when I've got a group of people that are like-minded with me, then we can make so much more of a difference.
Wow.
That's been the thing with us is
cool.
that we've seen like her passion, it seeps out to work, is to see someone fighting so hard for us that and like what you and I are doing right here.
Sure.
I mean, you're not doing it to benefit your family. I'm not doing it to benefit mine. I want whatever experiences we've had to seep out and like
Help
don't do
someone.
what I did.
Sure.
I'm a dumbass.
A cautionary tale.
Exactly. Don't do this. But just being able to service people, and that was the thing that we saw so quickly. Is that it was something like, oh, they're actually going to be in a job. It's like you're actually
This
going
is real.
wow.
Yeah,
And we noticed that, and we're thinking, okay, I mean, Jacob, it's a sink or swim thing, and it was so quickly that he adhered to one. There's authority. There's there are rules. You do this, that, and the other. But also he got to realize that it was something he's with all people. I mean, he doesn't see himself any different, just like his. But when he first went in, I can remember the first story he came and told us. It was the best thing ever. But when we first started at the hospital, it was in the women's floor, and he came home and he's working in the delivery area.
Like the maternity ward?
Yeah, maternity. And so basically, he came over, like, so how was it? And he's so animated and everything else. Oh, so much fun. Oh my gosh, those women are loud. She was screaming. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. But it was
So
just like,
funny.
it was life experience. I mean, he's
Yeah.
getting to see
Yeah.
all facets of life. I mean, if there's babies popping out here, then, you know,
Wow.
you're doing other
So
things.
cool.
But
Just to clarify, he did not see the
no,
babies pop
he didn't
out.
see
He
the baby.
delivered 3
Yeah, he
babies.
delivered that day. It was amazing.
I mean, he might have tried, but he was not
Yeah.
actually there.
It's a volunteer thing, you know.
That's so funny.
Hey,
How did you get in, like, how did this initially happen? How did these worlds collide? Was this something that you were, like, referred from a school? Did you meet somewhere else out in the
no,
community?
I believe wasn't it Stomper? I'm trying to think of which one.
At CV Tech, so
Yeah.
he went to a program called hospitality. Yeah, he
He went to hospitality.
which is kind of hotel and food service
Service
training.
industry kind of stuff. Okay.
It's another program at
Got it.
the tech center that they do training. So those are the specific skills
Mm-hmm.
they're working on, but it's designed. It's a program designed for people with disabilities.
Oh, okay.
So he went
the service.
after he graduated, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
can do it as a junior, senior,
Sure.
or you can come as an adult.
Come after.
That's a half-day program.
it's the service career stuff, but Jacob, you know how Jacob is. Regardless,
Yeah.
he wanted to be the door greeter. It was
Sure.
right next to the cosmetics
Yeah.
area where all the young ladies were going in to do whatever. So quickly he had a name in the building, and quickly he had his reputation as whatever. But it was Carrie Stomper, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Miss Stomper, she's the one that kind of got us involved and basically introduced
Okay.
and, you know, saying that the program would be good, and that's how kind of we.
And who
there
was
may-
she? Was she like a
she
school
is
teacher?
the-
She's
Or
the
was she
special needs
yeah,
counselor,
counselor.
at
Got it.
Canadian
After
Valley.
school, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we've really met some really good people through that process and through that program.
I bet.
And they got us in touch with Jill and kind of just went from there. It was one of those things that was like a quick meeting, but just like, want to try him in this program. And I like to say that Danielle and I are on the up and up as far as knowing the information that's out there. I say me, I throw my name in there after
Yeah,
hers.
we all know it's
Because,
Danielle.
my
That's
gosh,
fine.
that girl.
We all
Up
know
at night,
who the
she's
brains
got
of the operation
flipping
is.
pages. But we didn't really know much about at all. I'm like, my gosh, we know something. Here's something we can jump on top of, or at least, you know, see. Who knows what's going to happen with it?
Sure.
And it was really quick to see that
Yeah.
just the good that was coming from it. Just to see that he felt worth, and he's not one that really exudes like this woe is me. And I say he doesn't, but there's days when he doesn't have interaction with the ladies or whatever.
Sure.
That there's always something.
Thanks.
But it was like he was a part of it. It was like he was
Yeah.
about, this is where I work at.
Yeah.
I'm these are my
Yeah,
coworkers.
so that spark.
So
of
yeah,
purpose,
exactly.
you know, I
And
feel
he
like,
just,
yeah.
I mean, he clamored to it so quickly, but just you could tell that it was helping him grow
Cool.
and helping him just see validity and just in like the things that he was doing every day. And
So
he was
cool.
super excited to come home and talk about it. So it's one of those things that we were seeing from day one almost.
Wow.
Something that was going to benefit us. Yeah, very
a
quickly.
shift a little
And
bit.
again, like we always say, you put your
So
claws
cool.
in it, and so
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
on Jill's back like a
Yeah.
Miss Kitty, or Hello Kitty backpack. Yeah,
It's a terrifying thought.
I know. Me in pink and white.
Just full.
I had
Yeah,
fluffy
my
all
back
over.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's terrifying.
Okay.
I apologize.
My back can't carry that. You can walk along beside, but I can't carry it. I'm sorry.
So I was curious, how many kids and young adults are in the program? How big is this? I
So
have no
our
idea.
program we have 8 spots,
Oh, so very limited. But I imagine
Yes.
a very individualized, very
and
hands-on.
I have
and a
2
lot.
job coaches that work
Okay.
with me. So that's 3 staff with
For
8.
everyone. Wow.
So we
Incredible.
do have that opportunity to really work on what are your work skills and
Yeah.
whatever it is that we need,
Sure.
whatever it is that individual needs, we can focus on
Yeah.
that. We've got time to do that. It's fantastic
How
because we
nice.
really see lots of growth,
That-
and that's super rewarding. I've loved every job that I've had, truly,
Sure.
but you don't always see the growth,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's just great to be able to see. Now, not every kid is going to be where they potentially could be.
Sure.
With Jacob, I don't like the job Jacob has currently. I told him he needs to be doing more, but it's his choice. He's an adult. He gets to make those choices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that the job is bad. It's just not enough. He needs more of a challenge. But that's what he wanted. That's what he's doing. He's working. He's excited about it.
Yeah.
He's their, Facebook poster. He does, he's out there in the community talking that job up all the time. And he's looking. He's looking for another place to have that connection, to work. So I want those young people to find whatever it is that they want, not what I want for them and not what you want for them, but I don't want them to learn who they are, what's important to them. And this program really gives an opportunity to do that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
That's amazing.
It is.
And I mean, sadly, I've been in this field almost 2 decades here in Edmond. I never even really knew that this was like a thing, or like, okay, no, there's like a thing, but like never really spent too much time and energy like looking into it, just because my population's a little bit younger.
Right.
It tends to be more teens. But I think it's incredible. So is this the only one in the Oklahoma City metro area?
Oh no. So Edmond has one right here at Edmond Hospital. But it just started this year. This is their first.
Oh wow! Okay.
So and it is a high school program. So it's going to be that last year of high school, whatever that is to you. Sure. So now we've gone up to the age 22. So it could be that age out here. But there'll be still the education partner is Edmond Schools.
Got it. Okay, so
the host site is
an adult who's out of school is not going to be able to access that, but anybody who is currently still in their senior year in a public school.
Correct.
Got it.
Oklahoma City Public Schools has a program at Southwest Medical Center.
Okay.
Francis Tuttle has a program at Baptist and at Mercy.
Cool. So quite a few. Mm-hmm. Are they all fairly limited in their spacing too? Is it all
most of them are more 10? Yeah.
Okay. All right,
but it's always small. I mean, if you think about as a teacher, I had 15 kids in a class, and
Yeah, that's what I was kind of just wondering. I'm like kind of doing the mental math and going, okay, there's probably a lot more than 8 per district or per state who need this.
However, Curtis, let me tell you, the problem is we don't have enough applicants. So I have just finished with interviews for our next cohort program. We have 8 spots. I had 9 applicants.
Interesting.
That's not enough.
I would have thought it would have been the other problem. I would have thought it was we've got 100 kids who are wanting this, only 8 spots.
Yeah.
How do we decide? That was going to be I was like, well, how do you decide who gets in? So
it is like clawing.
Whoever applies gets in at this point.
Well, not exactly.
Sure.
We want to make sure if we take them in the program that they're job
reasonably
available. I mean, that they could handle working in a community job.
Okay.
And do they want to work? Those are the 2 keys. If they're not if they're not able to take direction, answer questions.
Sure.
I mean, not even someone who was not able to verbally communicate wouldn't be a no.
Sure,
it really is. Do they have that desire to work?
Yeah.
And is the family helping with that?
On board for it. Okay.
Doesn't always have to have family support. Sometimes that young person will have enough desire on their own to want that to happen.
Internally enough to be able to do it.
But they've got to be able to get there because it's not on site. We don't have any transportation, so it's not located at the school. They've got to get there because in a year they're going to have a job and they've got to be able to get to the job. So you got to be able to figure it out. Absolutely. So that's one of those steps towards adulthood that we just automatically build in, because if they don't have it now, what's going to say they're going to have it in a year?
Yeah.
Figure it out. And we don't ever want that to be the barrier to the program.
Transportation alone.
And but you can ask anyone who has a child with a disability or an adult with a disability, transportation is number 1 problem.
Yeah.
When they start looking at what can we do, where can we go, how can we get there?
Wow.
Anyway. Wow. Yeah, we don't have enough. And the problem for me is I feel like parents don't have a view past walking across the stage, getting their diploma. What's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And I love this program because it gives me the opportunity to say, think bigger. There is a future after school. It is different, and it may be really sucky if you don't make a plan, because nothing is going to happen.
Yeah.
When I talk to kids to talk to them about the program and try to recruit them, I say, nobody's going to come knocking on your door and say, hey, you want to come with me and do this thing?
Sure.
You want to come work for me?
Yeah.
You want to go Christmas caroling with me?
Sure.
Nope, that doesn't happen after school. And we've done a great job with education of being that nurturer, holding your hand and pulling you along and helping you understand but we haven't given enough of what does life look like after, because it's real scary.
Agreed.
Because there is nothing if you don't make it happen. And I hate that for parents, because you got to carry that load forever, but I can't change it. All I can do is help you figure out how to make that plan, figure out what is important, and then help you know it's not about you. It's about that individual.
Exactly.
And we don't do a good job. I mean, I can tell you all the things I think we don't do a good job about in education, but we don't help kids know who they are. We don't help them see a vision for themselves. And this is true for, neurotypical kids, kids with disability, whatever. It's true for everybody, but for our population that we work with, they never get that opportunity to figure out what's important to me. Yes.
Absolutely.
We, as parents, we tend to get, and this is the thing that Jill's kind of helped us with, and the program has helped us with, is the fact is, we don't think, and this is the thing I talk about constantly. I was at Early Foundations speaking earlier this week, and one of the main questions were about, what do we do after this? And again, none of them knew Project Search at all. They were all smaller school districts, but they are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I was just praising this thing, and then I was talking to some of the directors there at Early Foundations. They're like, they don't know anything about something like that. And I was like, my gosh, people that have been, just like you said, have been in the industry, been dealing with this for decades, that it's not publicized. Yeah. And again, the population, that they have 9 people, applicants for 8 positions. It should be just the opposite. You got 200 for this. They're clamoring. Yeah. Then they're seeing the need, like, oh my gosh, we need to build bigger. We need to do better. Yeah. And there's sometimes, as parents, we get to the point of understanding the transitional things of, like, I said this again, I've said it 100 times, but it's nice to be able to go, my transitions are elementary, middle school, high school. Well, with us, our transition might be elementary to maybe the end of the year, elementary. Then it's this week to this week. Then it gets to the point later on, it's this hour to this hour. Yeah. And you don't think, and it's just that woe is me. We're so sad that this is so tough and so hard. And like Jill says, you hold our hand. Sometimes we need you to grab us by the scruff of the breeches and the collar and say, get your dead ass moving, because your kids are going to be sitting in their bedroom on whatever app that they're on, or whatever, just drooling away, doing absolutely nothing. And you're then as a parent.
No, they're going to be eating some Cheetos while they're.
Well, there will be. Well, Jacob, it's like, what is left in my bed from last week? Awesome.
A cracker.
I'll go in there and go, dude, we haven't eaten that in like 2 weeks. Where did they come from? And it's like, well, I've always told the story of when we went and first started doing ag stuff and we're showing pigs back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
They said, do not, like, these are for your pig. These are gummy bears that have been sitting in here for weeks. The mice have peed on them, pooped on them, don't touch them. Here, feed your pig, and they'll help them get to know it. And we look back there, and there's Jacob, I'm just going down. Like, dude, he's like, stop. But yes, it's continued. It's whatever snack bag he's got in his bed. Yeah. But seeing that thing, and like, as parents, you're finally going, crap, I got to put some work into it now, or not also. Yeah. But it's like it's not about us. I mean, that's the thing. Danielle and I have listened to everybody that has been in our lives in certain processes. And again, it's just we fully agree. It's not about us. We want them to have the best life possible, and we're going to fight. It's my job. They were given to us. We're supposed to bring them up, make sure that they got life coming to them. But it's difficult. And finding the processes, and once you find them, but it blows my mind every day that you just said that again. And it's we talk to so many people so many times. They're like, what do we do now? Yeah. Get out there and look. There's opportunities. Yeah. 9 people showed up for 8 positions. I mean, it's like that just baffles my mind. I want to say a lot of other dirty words and other things, because it's like, don't ask the question if you're not going to get off your ass and do the work, because it's for us. I just want to see Jacob, because he's got so much potential and he's learned so much from this program, even more so. Like, look at what you learned that you can do. Yeah. And like you said, the job, now mom and dad are on him, and it's the matter of, you're not working 2 nights a week for a couple hours. I'm so lonely, Dad, during the week. Go get yourself, we're getting you a job. That's why everything that we were working on and everything you've done, you're not going to lose it by sitting in this bed and feeling sorry for yourself. Get your butt back up.
Sure.
this is your, and that's again like the whole thing. But I got special needs, Dad. Well, get up off your special need butt. Get busy. Let's get that job. Get you working. You're going to see people every day. You're going to have those interactions that you so desperately want and love.
Yeah.
And it's getting to that point. And this has been something that it has been so eye-opening to be a part of this. And I wish it could go on forever because it's so much fun to see the deals they get to be a part of and the things. Man, I would love to.
Oh, I can only imagine how cool it is. For
Oh
these guys
gosh,
to be able to do that.
and just all the different things that he did just at the hospital. I mean, he made so many different new friends, new people. We see people in the community. Jacob, and I'm like, who are these people? Oh, I worked with him here.
Sure.
And the sentence right there. I worked with them here. I'm like, holy crap! I mean, it's happening right under our nose, and it gets to the point where I love the fact that sometimes we don't even recognize it because it's like it's so
it's
happening so natural. Yeah. So I mean, it's just
amazing.
It's
so on that subject of like you were saying, like this is so amazing, but yet only so few people. Why? Why is that happening? Like, I guess the first question is, how do people get into this program? Is this something that the schools have to fill out information and connect to things? Do the parents reach out directly? How does it work?
So it is an application interview process.
Okay.
They should be aware of it through their school. But I can promise you, if you go to my alma mater over there at Edmond High, there's probably going to be some people that don't know about it. Some of those teachers that are dealing with the kids that are appropriate for the program.
Sure.
It's just information sharing. So to me, the teachers are the gatekeepers.
Okay.
They are the gatekeepers to that kid's future.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, you don't know. How do you find out? Yeah. To me, that's part of the teacher's responsibility.
For sure.
But we have put so much on teachers. They are so overloaded and overwhelmed. So in that kid's IEP, there should be somebody there saying, what are you going to do after you graduate? That should be happening in middle school.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
I think is like technically
so they talk about transition and they may write a transition plan because it's the law. You got to do
curriculum, you have to do it.
But do the teachers even understand? Truly, they don't. They don't. And that's a hole. That's where we're missing. Because parents can't get information. I mean, it's not going to come to them out of the sky. Yeah. And I can't knock on all their doors.
No doubt.
But helping everyone be aware of what's available. And we're not for everybody. I get that.
Yeah, yeah.
We are job, and not everybody's going to do a job. Sure. Now, let me segue from that. I am passionate about young people with disabilities having a life. Yeah. That's not always a job. Sure. It is always something. Yeah. It is always having relationships with people, getting away from your family, seeing other people besides the people you live with, having relationships, feeling a part. So much of what I do is a part of me. If I won $1 billion tomorrow, I would still do what I do because I love it. Yeah. Is it hard? Yes, but it is important work. Absolutely. And it makes a difference, and it's part of who makes Jill.
Preach.
So I think parents need to see, where's my kid going, but also what's their life, what's important to them. And that's where, if kids don't know and parents don't dig, how do you know what's important to that kid?
Yeah, you end up in the same kind of cycle over and over again.
And then they get that addiction to whatever YouTube or video game or whatever. Sure. And then it's truly an addiction and they can't get out of it.
And then depression hits and then there's social anxiety because they haven't been going out and then they just get into
And Jacob is somebody that I would say, Jacob, he's not depressed. He would never get depressed. But if he doesn't have that people feeding him, whether that's through a job, whether that's through volunteering, whatever, there are a lot of kids, a lot of adults that are not going to be appropriate to work in a community job, but find a way for them to connect, whether that's working through like an enclave a couple days a week, whether that's volunteering, whether that's working at their church, whatever that looks like, they need to get out and they need to have a schedule. And it needs to be just like you and I. Sure. We have to do this, even if we don't want to. Yeah. So we talk about that a lot at Project Search. I don't every day wake up and go, woo, I get to go to work. Most of the days I do. But there are some that I don't.
Yeah.
And guess what? I go anyway.
Get your butt into work.
I take that, whatever that grumble is, and I put it in my backpack. I put it on with me, and I go to work.
Yep.
And I can carry that grumble with me all day.
Yep.
And then when I get done with work, then I can pull it back out if I want to.
Yep.
Or I can choose that I don't want it anymore, and I can throw it in the trash.
Absolutely.
But kids don't understand that. And that, a lot of emotional regulation goes in with what we're trying to teach.
100%.
For sure.
100%.
But understanding it's okay to feel sad or mad or angry or disappointed.
Sure.
But you can't
Sure,
always show everybody that.
Yeah.
Understanding how you do that and how you're professional. So
yeah.
And that's the thing with parents too, is that we're saying it just this week earlier, just talking about like reminding me, because people are like, oh, we always enjoy when you come and Parent Panel, you're so funny, silly, goofy, whatever. And I said, but you don't know what it was like driving here, because I don't show it. You're not going to know me. The funnier I get, you may realize that I may be naked,
probably far more
naked on an overpass,
Yeah.
dancing for nickels or something.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of just it's
every time you say something that fully throws me off, because I have to, my visual brain.
You're seeing me throwing nickels.
Visualize it. You force me to see things I don't want to see.
It's hypnotic. I mean, you ask Danielle. I mean, the poor woman has to see it and get out of the shower.
She's a saint.
Yeah, she is.
Oh.
But it's just a matter of as parents, you have to get up and put your big boy pants on too, because it's like it's so easy for me to be sad. We have children, it's struggles, it's all that. I can lay in the bed and all day long.
Sure.
But there's moments, and it's been just seeing him wanting to work, but realizing like the process and like, oh my gosh, again, it's happening. How good it's gonna, what the potential is now.
Yeah.
I mean, because he really wants to get out, wants to do some more things. Now we have to. I love when we get home and I've been out all day and he's at his 2-hour job. Dad, I've been working. I worked 2 hours today. Get up, dude. Make the bed, do something. But it's so refreshing to know, because so many families out there, they don't have opportunities. They don't know them. And like you said, there's a lot of kids that aren't geared for the program, but it's just a matter of everybody that I try to talk to is like, just try to start your story somewhere.
Yeah.
Get up, do something, have some process. You may not be able to get out and work in the community, because when people say to us, our kids aren't as advanced as yours. Well, I mean, great. Some of them aren't either. There's a lot of people that but you still have to do something, or you're going to find yourself in that point. And then as a parent, or just as a human, just like you say, I wake up every morning and I'm smiling, and my wife is going, what is wrong with you? But inside, I've murdered 7 people and buried their bodies in weird places because of just, I have to do that to get myself up. Yeah. But it's just a matter, it's just, again, seeing how it has worked so beautifully into getting him realizing that, I can make money. I can buy my own. He bought his own TV, and this is a big deal.
Did he really?
But now it's like, but Dad, this is my own money, and I'm gonna
Good.
Yeah. But he's like,
Good.
It's getting it.
Yeah.
And
that is reinforcement.
He's got and I'm not gonna give our address, but in his sock drawer, he's got like just, it looks like a stripper sock drawer. It's just dollar bills everywhere. Dollar bills. I'm like, what? Either you're gearing up for something, or what are you doing on the weekend?
Get a bank account, man.
Yeah. We've got that, but we have the extra stash money, and he caught his sister sneaking in there and taking some money out. Dear sweet Moses,
he lost it.
Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh, it was. He opened the drawer up and found there's some dollars missing, and man, he was automatic. Man. I get the phone call on the FaceTime. I'm seeing the drawer. There's money missing. And he's rifling through. Funny. But he got that. Yeah. Just that whole thing, like we all have.
He didn't have that. He could not care about money.
No, not at all.
Hard work equals money,
and I can buy that one thing that I want.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, the Funko Pops that kid has got now.
I get it.
I know. I'm looking at it. I mean, he's got. It's everything that he wants. It just he realizes it and he loves it. And
it's awesome.
We're just to that point now. Again, I find it took us getting in, taking that first job, and getting it to the point to where now he's excited about. Oh my gosh, I can get more.
Yeah.
What? This is awesome. One of the things I do have to say, and an amazing woman opened our eyes to this. I'm not going to say her name at all, or point to her.
Sure.
But went into an area, and it's not. And I guarantee, I know you can tell us this, but walking in and getting somebody a job with a disability, it's not like, well, sure, come on in. That's the thing that we had to see. And was I offended? Was I ready to get on Facebook and go, you no good sack of whatever? Leave some, Then, put my anonymous on there first. Sure. But going in and going, he's got a great attitude, but
So is that also part of it? So it's not just like, here's like the job skills and all that kind of stuff, and then like, here we're gonna like shoot you off to go to this place, but you guys go with them, and also like job coach-ish, like, and work with the management and try to train and teach them and stuff?
Yes.
Wow.
If the company will let us come in, we'll come in and stay with them until we feel like they're good. They got it.
Wow.
Now, they've already done 3 separate kinds of jobs with us at the hospital.
Okay.
So by the time we look for jobs at the end of that, they pretty much know, they have a good understanding of work.
Sure. It ain't their first rodeo, not their first time out kind of thing.
So we'll stay and then we'll pop back in. We'll, just pull back as we feel like they're good. And yeah. So that's another cool piece is we're not just working on the job training, but we're locating and we're finding in their community. So, I mean, I say I'm not happy with Jacob's job. I love that it's in his community.
I appreciate your...
And that the family said, this is going to change our community. Yeah. Seeing him work there is going to make a difference. And I get that because that's part of your family's goal is to change your community, to look at who's around us and how accepting. Can they see that we can actually, everybody in town knows Jacob because he's delightful.
Yeah. How can you not
Everybody in the metro
him?
area basically knows Jacob. Yeah. He's delightful, but he's delightful, silly, funny, entertaining. Is he delightful in that he has value and can work? Yes. Yeah. Yes, he can be both of those things. But we weren't, the people that knew him weren't seeing that side of him. Yeah. And so I get that. And of course, we all had hoped that it would turn into more hours. It hasn't turned into more hours, and that's the disappointment. Just because, just like you said, he's laying at home, he's saying, I'm lonely. That he feeds on people. Yeah. He needs that. Yeah. And when he doesn't have that, he's missing it. Now, does he want to get up every day and go somewhere? Probably not. But he knows he can because he's done it before. Yeah.
And he's probably the kind of like me a lot of times, like where I'll wake up like, I can't do it today. And then I get my butt up, I get to work, and then I start seeing people, and then it's like, within an hour or two, it's like, all right, and I'm in a good mood, and then the kids show up, and it's like party time, and at the end of the night, I'm like, what an awesome day, but like 12 hours ago when I woke up, I was like, not feeling
I wanted to miss this.
Yeah, so it's like he has to like get that, work over that hump or whatever. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so I want to just like to understand front to back. This is just for my own education, so I can help and explain this to people. So parents can apply for this program themselves. They don't need a school to do it. They don't need a therapist. They don't need a medical insurance pre-authorization or anything like that. They just fill out the stuff. Where do they go? Website, I assume?
They could go to, everybody has a Facebook page, so you could do that.
Okay. So Project Search, SEARCH. No special spellings or anything. Okay, Project Search.
They're probably going to find out about it through their school. Okay. And if they don't have to be associated with the school, but that's where most of our candidates are going to come from.
So homeschool kids could also access this program here. How is it paid for?
It's funded through a DRS.
Cool. So no cost to the parents at all?
No cost.
Wow. What's the length of the program typically?
9 months.
9 months, okay.
So we're school
and a half day
calendar.
Program.
No, we're full day.
A full day.
So the interns are working about 5.5 hours on the floor. That means they're on their feet for 5.5 hours. They're walking a couple of miles a day. Nice. They're physical. They have a task list of responsibilities, and they're following that task list.
It's hands on. It's not just like theoretical job, kind of stuff.
We're doing real work in a real setting, and that's different than you're going to get in a school. Even though schools have done great jobs of creating these opportunities. Even if you're going out into real businesses, you're there for an hour, hour and a half, and you're doing a little bit of work. What we do is, if you're not there, somebody's got to do that job. So you need to be there every day, and understanding how important your presence is. And when you have an intern that doesn't show up every day, somebody else has to do their job, and it's usually us. So we want them to feel like,
it's on you,
he didn't show up. I got to do his job today. Why is that?
That's real.
Or the pressure of, you didn't show up and I did your job and now I'm mad at you because I had to work extra hard.
The real world.
And we can create obstacles where there sometimes aren't, just so they have that opportunity to feel like, what do I do when this is not right? Or when it doesn't work right? Absolutely. Or when I've got to work later than 2 o'clock or whatever, because some of us are like, it's time. I got 1 more minute. I I gotta get my you
Job
work
ain't
until
done.
until the work is done.
Yeah.
Well, my mom's waiting. Well, I'm sorry, but you're not finished with
Yeah,
your work.
move
They'll have to
faster.
wait.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just the way
Great.
it is. When you have a job, you have to have that responsibility. So it gives us lots of opportunities to teach lots of things like that. But
so cool.
how do people get involved? If they're not hearing it through their school,
Yeah.
I really don't know. I mean, they could go to
Yeah.
their Facebook page, but that's why the more people that can talk about it, then hear about it, the better.
Yeah.
If you know somebody, I mean, I talk at I've spoken at the Autism Canadian Valley parent group. Anywhere I have to go
I'm
to
sure.
talk about it,
Yeah, it was a
it's
bullhorn
great.
and trying to.
But
yeah.
with the disability community, it's a little bit, what's the word? Cliquish,
Think
clannish.
very-
I would say I don't want to say
very
carefully when I
carefully
answer this
about-
question. No, it is. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It is cliquish. It's very it's just.
Which I get. If I have a kid that has Down syndrome, I want to work with a Down syndrome.
I would say
group,
compartmentalized
Okay,
would be the
that maybe is a
most,
better because it's not like they're
political-
against each other,
Yeah.
but there is no open communication, and we get
Yeah.
a lot of, well, my kid's not like yours, my kid can't do that. Well, maybe not, but
Yeah.
you don't know until you give them opportunities
Give
to
a
do
chance.
things.
Yeah. I was looking into
Um,
it. Okay.
So getting that information out is best.
Huge. Paramount.
If teachers knew the information
Yeah.
and were willing to share it, but the problem is, again,
Yeah. Overloaded.
just
Yeah.
so many
Add
things
to the
on their
top
plate.
of the ever growing.
And even if you go
No
into,
time.
so Carrie Stomprud is our special needs coordinator. She goes to
Okay.
all the IEPs of kids that are at Canadian Valley.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all our sending schools,
Sure.
Moore, Yukon, Tuttle. No, Tuttle's not really one of us. They're Chickasha. Anyway,
Oh, okay. Different county. Yeah. So she goes to the IEP.
she goes to the
meetings
IEP meetings and she'll talk about Project Search if she feels like it's somebody that's appropriate for
Yeah.
the program.
Yeah.
But how many things are talked about in that program, in that IEP
Yeah,
meeting?
300. Yeah.
So
Sure.
And those parents are overloaded. And they're
100%.
thinking, like, oh my gosh, you just told me the most horrible things about my kids. And this lady over here's clamoring on about something
Yeah.
else.
It's about 3
I need
years
to
from
drive
now.
my
I don't
kids
have time.
somewhere?
My
Oh
kid's
my gosh.
failing English now.
Yeah.
That's my priority.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Well, and
totally
then just like she said, you're one person out of that program up there speaking. And then, you got 8 sets of parents and maybe 2 sets of parents are going to be able to,
Yeah.
able-bodied to go out to talk and say things.
Okay.
So you have maybe 2 sets of parents and an instructor and that's out there and
Yeah.
community of numerous kids that can be
Yeah.
served,
Yeah.
and it's sad.
Hundreds. Yeah,
Yeah.
hundreds. So so they can go to the Facebook page, go find you on the website, fill out the form, go through an application process. What is a 9-month program? You said age-wise, they have to be in their senior year of high school, regardless of their physical age. If it is their last year, or can they go in as a junior?
they have to be in their last year if it's a high school program. So
Okay.
my program is an adult program. It's after they've walked across the stage.
Oh, okay. I must have
Now,
misunderstood.
the
Okay.
Edmond program is high
It is-
school.
okay, so there's different ones. Okay,
It
gotcha.
can be a high school program, it can be an adult program.
Got it.
In the state of Oklahoma, we only go to age 24, and that is a
Yeah.
DRS thing because that is the transition
Okay.
age for Department of Rehab Services.
Gotcha.
When they get after they're 24, then they're going to go into the adult category, different pot of funding, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
There are project searches in other places that do
Mhm.
not have that age restriction.
Oh,
They'll have
okay.
50-year-olds in their program.
Cool.
So
cool.
that's just
Okay, so there's
That's
some
fine.
that are like high school only, and then so they grad. So then okay. So they senior year, I could go to the one here in Edmond or
Mhm.
something. Okay, I just graduated last year. I'm struggling to find a job. Parents could try to get them involved in yours or the other ones
Yes.
that are for that post high school
yes.
thing, and it's covered by that. This is incredible.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
DRS does a great job of, we wear uniforms. So
Oh,
5
yeah.
days a week we're wearing scrubs or we're wearing
Yeah.
polos and black pants. We
Yeah.
want to look professional.
Yeah.
We got belts. We're going to tuck in our shirt.
Yeah.
We're going to have non-slip shoes
Looks
because
great.
that's what we've got to do. If you're not able to buy that, DRS can help you with that.
Cool.
So there's funding isn't an issue. Transportation, I said, it's an issue for everybody,
Yeah.
but DRS can help with transportation.
Yeah.
If you can't manage it, they can help you with some of that funding. They're not going to do it for you,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
no bus service, so we can't work
Sure.
with that. But I know in Oklahoma City, some of those people take the bus.
Oh, sure.
Some of those students ride the bus to
Public
work.
transportation
every-
stuff to get
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
because it's available. But it's low barriers as far
Mm-hmm.
as the ability to get in. You got to be able to get there, and you got to want it to work.
Yeah.
That's the key. We do interview the parents and the intern, the young person, because we want to feel of what do they really work? Do they really want to work? They have that desire?
Yeah.
Does the parent feel like they need to speak for them? Is the parent ready? Because it's work for the parent. I mean, you called me a few times and said, "Why are you telling my kid that he's crazy? He's now telling me I can't do these things." But that was his. I love it, but it's something I didn't expect to happen because the kid is going to learn to advocate for themselves. Yeah. That's the hope, is that they have that voice and they're able to say, "This is what's important to me." And
what are the biggest things that you like if you were like a parent and you've got like a 14-year-old, so they're not quite ready for that, but like what are the things that you think parents could focus on at home that will set them up for long-term success in these things, like make your job easier by the time they get to you, or make it to where they never even need to access programs like yours? What are the most important things for actual real world transition to adulthood and life skills and job training skills? What do you think? What are the biggest, most important ones?
So I think you can't smet. That's not a word.
You can't smet.
You can't.
It's going to be now.
True.
It is a new word.
It is true. You can't smet.
You can't smet the stuff. The small stuff.
Okay.
School is going to end.
Yeah.
It's important, but it's not the most important thing for your kid.
Yeah.
You need to think about, what's my kid's life going to look like in 5 years? Is what's happening here going to make a difference? Don't fight about things that don't matter. We educators teach parents that we're the queen and everything we do is right.
Yes.
And you're going to follow along because I said it.
I have all the wisdoms.
Yes.
And yeah.
And it's my rule and it's my island, and you're going to do what I need you to do. Sometimes you just need to go, okay, and go along, because you're not going to win that battle.
No,
if that's really what the message you're getting, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Just bear through it and go on.
Okay.
I think a lot of times parents get bogged down in stuff with school that's not important. Does that make sense?
Yep. So overly focusing on like a grade or grammar issues on an essay or something.
Yes.
And like neglecting maybe like more important things like having a clean room, learning the skills to learn responsibility and do hard things and all that kind of stuff.
Having some expectations too is super important. Have a dream for your kid in the future. That's one of the questions I ask in an interview is, what is your dream? If you could have a dream, a perfect life, what would that be for your child? I can tell you what it would be for mine. You can tell me but could you do that? I mean, you guys probably could, because you are dreamers. You wanted something for your kids, but lots of parents don't think beyond today. Yeah. And I know it's hard. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, for sure.
Being a parent of a child with a disability, maybe they have behaviors, maybe they're just not learning. That's tough. Yeah. But everybody has value, and seeing what that value is.
Absolutely.
And understanding that even those that are functioning very low deserve to have a life of their own and deserve to have something that belongs to them. And whether they, make a D in English or do their homework at night, does it really matter?
Yeah.
It's probably more important for them to socialize at night than do their homework.
Yeah.
Don't tell teachers I said
that.
Preaching
She's
the
getting
choir
us all
here.
in trouble.
Yeah.
The thing that there's two things I want to say on what you said, and I want to try not to roll off on my standard ADHD tangents of randomness. But the thing is that with having children in high school with disabilities, they're involved in Special Olympics. They they have I'm trying to think of what to define the kids at, but the ones that are always the cheerleaders that run through and like, hey man, what's going on? How are you? All these things, they have that. And like you said,
they're built-in buddies.
Yeah. Built. Oh gosh, that is so beautiful. Built-in buddies. And I want a T-shirt that has that on that with a
built-in buddy.
Yeah. But
coming for our merch shop, coming soon.
Yeah, it's coming soon. Exactly, built-in buddy. But it's a matter of they have that every day they go to school. Yeah. They have that opportunity to get to say hi, greet people at the front door, all those things. They walk across that stage, and you said 5 years later, it wasn't but a month, like a week later, that Jacob was in bed going, just like, I don't get to go say hi to everybody. they're not at the door. And he was so excited for when Special Olympics started. So that Wednesday night, 1 hour, he could see some of the kids. But those kids that he really were close to, it's like we have to educate the parents to realize that a lot of those kids that are friends now, they're walking across that stage. They've got their dreams are here. They're gone, and they're not going to be in that. Because Jacob's like, we always talk about, we might move after Libby gets out of high school or whatever. I can't ever leave Tuttle because all my friends. And it's getting down him to understand there's going to be a day that you don't know anybody in that school. Yeah. Not one single person. Yeah. They're living their lives and moving on, and the things of that. So that was so quick for us to realize that. So you say we were dreamers. We've always been that, because it scares me to death. I'm the one that I dream, but I also have nightmares of what to expect in that world. And so you see, then also talking about like the value, like the people realizing that these kids have value. The thing that I kind of touched on a little bit earlier, and again, I didn't want to mention the woman's name who came up with this amazing deal, but her just basically saying, can we bring him in and just let him volunteer for a little bit, for a couple of days, just to see how it might work out. It's like that happened, and it was like they called us. And we're like, my wife told me if I don't hire Jacob, she's leaving me, because it just brought so much here. Yeah, and that's not going to be every kid, but that's going to be the fact. What other effing job out there do you have to go, can I volunteer for just a couple of days so you can see that I have any value, that I could possibly do this job? Yeah. But we're to that point
you have to prove
that these kids, and Daniel and I was talking about it on the way in this morning, and I was like, just think about some 16-year-old turd that's busting tables. It's like, I gotta pay for my weed, whatever it is. But then you have Jacob that's like, I will do whatever it is. I will do. If I get to say hi to people coming in, clean, whatever, I'm good. Look at me. I'm here. I'm ready. And it's just those people taking that step of going, they do have value, man. It is a great place. Look at what's going on. Look at, again, our Facebook. Look at our marketing that's on Facebook and the messages. We've read so many that are like, oh my gosh, I went in. This kid's amazing. And again, everybody in the world that knows him, they know I'm Jacob's dad. They don't know my name anymore. It's like, oh, you're Jacob's dad.
Yeah.
Who are you? I've been in 3 job interviews that the people have been like, oh, you're in Tuttle. Okay, yeah. So-and-so, and what's your last name? Are you Jacob's dad? How do you know Jacob? So I was like, what is he doing? Again, the dollar bills in that bottom drawer. What's the kid doing? But it was just so Jill brought that on, and I said your name. I gave you credit. But she did the thing that just doing what she does. And again, it was so fun to walk up. She's outside. You got your stuff. You're doing work, whatever. Jacob's in there busting tables and getting it. But it was just that it was so refreshing, because as even starting out when we talk about transitions, when we leave our kids at school, you're leaving with a para, you're leaving with whatever. And the first thing, I drove around the parking lot and watched. I'm like, what's going on? What's going to happen here? Who is this person? Are they going to be good for them? Then you get to that point to where you get more comfort and trusting. Mm-hmm. And then after high school, you're like, oh my gosh, they're one person. Then now they're grown up, and now they're going to be in a job. And it's just that process of how cutting the strings. And it's been such a great, easy process for us to see everything you said. Dang it, Jill was right. God, I'm going to kick myself for saying it. Yeah. But it was like, it took us as parents just to say, listen, I mean, you've got to pull your big boy pants on and listen that, it's going to get rough. It's going to be tough. Yeah. But again, it was right after high school, right after graduation, that we saw the importance of he needs to be out there. He needs to be doing something, because this could be devastating for him. And just he's a member of the community, and he needs to be out there doing something.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, again, I'll be the biggest cheerleader. You'll see me. I'll have a picture of Jill here and Project Search here, and we'll be out dancing and whatever. Flags, because it's meant so much to our family, and it's allowed us to have opportunities we never thought we could have too. Yeah. It's like, I always praise the paras, but after high school, it's we're finding all these things that we want to make sure that everybody knows. And just like you said, the people that you deal with, and you're writing this stuff down. It just blows my mind again that we're gotten to this point and we don't know about something that is right there, so tangible, so beneficial, that again, so many people.
But
can
I think
touched.
We're not. The education system as a whole is not preaching that. And
that's
what we should be doing.
Exactly.
We should be spending less time on where does the period and the comma go, and more time on what's life look like after.
Absolutely.
How are you going to have engaging? I mean, some of our schools do a great job of providing so many opportunities and so much fun and those built-in buddies. I mean, they feel like they're part of school.
Yeah.
But it's not real.
No.
It's pretend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real
It's
while
real,
you're there,
yeah,
but it ends.
Yeah.
It's a limited time
Yeah.
partnership, and then it's over. And I know you dealt with this a lot with Jacob. He thought those friends that he had in school, that he was so close with, not that they didn't love him, they don't care about him, but they're growing themselves, and they're trying to figure out who they are, and they're not coming back to where he was. And that's a real struggle to understand. But we were lifelong friends in school. Why are we not continuing to have that relationship? Why are they not answering my call? Why are they not calling me back? Well, it's finals time, Jacob, and they're in college, and they don't have the time or the bandwidth to
they move. They're in Texas going to school.
And that's really, really hard for kids and for families to understand. When I say, when they walk across the stage, life ends. If you don't have something planned, whatever that is. I mean, even if you're you're real involved with your church and you go to church, well, your kid is going to fall off that cliff too, because the people they've been in youth group with are now going to go to either work full time or to college, and their life is dramatically going to change for the next 5 years. Now they might bounce back once they get settled in their adult life and say, I want to spend some time with you. But it's not going to be the same relationship, and it's not going to be the same time. But our people don't necessarily know or understand that. They just feel hurt because my life is different and I don't like this.
Overnight.
And they had no control over it. They didn't really know. They knew I'm a senior and it's great and I'm awesome. But what does that mean afterwards? If you're not going to work or you're not going to college, what does your life look like? And I think the education community, we all need to put more focus on that.
Definitely.
But teachers are so pushed to get the credits, get them graduated. And so much more so for those kids that are kind of in the crack. Like they're high enough functioning academically that they can make it in school, but they're still social skills are down here. Those are the people that really need me.
And that was kind of where I was wanting to go next, because my entire caseload essentially in my program, basically every kid is mainstreamed that's in my program. My older dudes who come to see me, they're driving themselves, right? So they are very, very capable, very low support needs in those kinds of ways. But I'm seeing kind of this wave of these dudes that I've been seeing over the last couple of years, graduating last year, the year before, and then I'm getting calls from them or their parents now, and they're struggling. And they're just like floundering, not sure what to do. I can't keep a job and no idea what I'm doing or whatever it might be. So what about for those dudes? Where like they don't need necessarily a 9-month intensive program with this much support. How can the parents and teachers plan for those kinds of kids, like starting at 14? Or like what are the things that should be focused on? Like less on the education, I assume more on the like social skills and life skills, emotional regulation, and then
because those are the things that are having them lose those jobs.
Biggest determiners of long-term success. I mean, I tell parents that all the time. I'm like, it's social emotional skills that actually give you long-term success in any job, not necessarily just academic performance. There's plenty of smart people who crash and burn because they don't have the social emotional skills, right? Like the water cooler skills, I kind of call them. You know what I mean? Like that is so undervalued. I think it's like the number one determiner of promotions too. It's not actually job performance, shocker. You know what I mean? It's not actually job performance. Like it's who you buddied up with, who are you friends with, what are your personal connections to the higher ups and those kinds of things. So is that about right? Like those are the things that parents should focus on for those kind of kids?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think they need to have expectations.
Yeah.
They need to make sure that their child has responsibilities at home and follow through with if they're not living up to their responsibility.
Sure.
Everybody who lives in this house has responsibilities.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this and you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's by God going to happen, or you're going to have to pay me, or you're going to have to lose or you're going to whatever. I mean, whatever that is. And then, figure out how to not battle about that. Just make it an expectation. So it shouldn't be punitive. You shouldn't have to take it away, but you want to teach them that it's part of my job as a human living
Yeah.
in this house
Yeah.
that I have to do this.
Okay.
It's not necessarily my chore,
Sure.
because
Sure.
sometimes then you get in a battle and
100%.
it's all about whatever you're taking away.
Yeah.
And do they
Okay.
want to just be naughty?
So really, it's a mindset that parents should be starting as early as humanly possible
Yes.
with a kid.
definitely.
Yes.
Get that 4-year-old, and even if it's
Yes.
like just clean one spoon,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
hand over hand. Let's
Yes.
clean a spoon. Like just start
Yes.
the responsibility. Okay.
I have special needs.
So clean 2.
Don't
You
teach
know what I
them
mean?
that.
So line
That's
them up.
the thing.
Yeah. So
That's-
line them up
yeah.
however you want on the table, sure, but clean the thing.
But the thing, how many times did you call him chew me out that he didn't have the right shirt on, or he didn't have his clothes washed, or whatever? How many times did you chew me out? That was the thing that was like, look at what's going on.
Yeah.
He's getting some skin in the game and realizing and we would have used that like, I'm sorry, I'm not with Miss Jill. What were you supposed to wear today? But Dad, I gotta wear this. I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm like, well, I mean, buddy, we got. So it's like, it was just so
It's how you
many
learn.
quickly.
It's how you
yeah,
learn.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you should start it way earlier, and that's the thing. But it was
Sure.
just so
Yeah.
nice to be like,
Yeah.
oh, and then we still use that. We still use the.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna call Miss Jill today. What? And how many times did you hear? How many times did you hear? Am I in trouble?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it waned. It didn't.
But
didn't-
it was-
in the beginning. It was like, yes, you're in trouble. Stop asking.
Sure. It's easier this way. Yes, you're in trouble. Make it up to me.
I think it's really important for. I lost my train of thought. It totally left. All things are.
No, you're good.
There we go.
Drinks,
I would say because an analogy that I've been using. So I have a couple of these guys I was talking about who like normally I'm just doing like social skills, right? So it's like a group and it's all about social stuff and not necessarily job stuff or life stuff. But I've kind of it has been thrust upon me because there's like nobody else who's like helping these dudes, and so I've had these parents who reach out with a 19, 20-year-old and they're like, hey, so you're the only guy my kid pretty much ever listened to or had any like respect for. So
Yeah.
can you help us here at all? Because we don't know what to do. And so I've got a couple dudes that I'm like seeing one-on-one right now, just trying to help them figure out like where do you go next and what are the like basic kinds of skills, like whether it's like hygiene stuff and talking through shaving and doing your hair and proper dress and all the rest of that stuff, or whether it's
Don't
creating
forget
resumes.
the bubbles. We need some soap in place.
Hey, crevices.
100%.
Yeah.
I like how she
Yep.
what were you mimicking how to
Getting in the nooks.
well,
nooks and
Gotta get
crannies?
those crannies.
You know.
Gotta get those crannies.
There's some
You
places that
gotta
need
clean the
soap.
gooch.
Can't forget the crannies, man. And so like they're really struggling. And one of the things that I'm noticing a pattern. So I was curious if you see this, where like parents have not pushed enough responsibility in these kinds of ways, like maybe academic responsibility, but like nothing outside of that. And I keep using the analogy of like calluses for my guys, and I'm like, look, you're 20, you just started this job, you're a week into it, and you're like collapsing in every possible way. I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm like, this is your first week of playing guitar, right? Like you've never developed the thickness of skin to be able to handle hard things. You've been bubbled artificially, either by parents and schools and life and culture and whatever else, and you haven't had to do hard things, right? And now you fell off the cliff, you're out of school, you're thrust into hard things and hard true work, and you've never had to do it before, and you need to go through that to like build some calluses to this, you know what I mean? And so I keep coming back to that analogy.
That's part of why you said they might not need a 9-month program,
Yeah.
but we get them in shape for that, and then we
Okay.
get them a better job.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be entry level, but
Sure.
it's gonna meet their needs. It's probably
Yeah.
gonna have some benefits with it.
Okay.
It's not just gonna be, I mean, never fast food.
That's a good
Thank
question.
you,
What are
Lord,
the
yeah.
jobs that you guys, and I'm sure it depends on the person, the individual, and abilities and interests and all the rest of that stuff, but what are the like normal fields or normal jobs that you're kind of getting these young adults into?
So, people with disabilities typically do food, filth, and flowers, right?
Food,
Okay,
filth, and flowers.
Say that again.
Holy-
Food,
Food, filth, and flowers.
food,
That's,
filth, and flowers.
so we're cleaning,
Okay,
we're doing janitorial work.
Okay.
That's what everybody has to do.
Okay.
Or we work in food service
Sure.
of some kind, and flowers. That's what our special our service career programs are all focused on.
What do you mean by flowers? Like flower shops?
Landscaping,
Yeah.
grass,
Gotcha.
flowers,
Okay.
planting.
All right.
Hate that.
So true. Okay.
Yes, it
all
is
right.
very true. But
So that
hate
is
it.
like you're saying that is kind of the standard.
That is
for...
the standard for people with disabilities.
Okay.
Yes.
And I assume that is
Not a desired standard for me.
Yeah. So are those the fields that most of your people going through the program are inevitably ending up in, or are you trying to like
I hope
navigate
not,
and expand?
but yes.
Yeah. Let's say.
But I
Okay.
hope not.
Okay. Why is it those fields that seem to work? Is it just the amount of skill required for those are not quite college level
Yes,
stuff? Is
and
it,
it's oftentimes about how much problem solving and decision making do you have to do
Okay.
to do this job.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with any food, filth, and flower job. It's fine.
No,
It's
someone's
great.
got to do it. Absolutely.
What we try to do is we try to fit the kid with what they need. Do they need a
Okay.
job close to home?
Okay.
Is that the most important thing to you as
Sure.
far as work?
Yeah.
You are going to have to walk because if you are, that's the
balance.
most important.
Okay.
Do
Reasonable.
you need benefits? Do you not have health insurance?
Okay.
If that's important to you, then
Yeah.
we're going to have to look for specifically something that's got health
Okay.
insurance, which oftentimes is going to be working for a larger company, maybe a hospital. Hospitals are great places to
Yeah.
work.
Really?
Benefits are great. Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Doing like janitorial or food
yeah,
service or something like that.
Yeah, EBS,
Okay.
cleaning. And they're going to be pretty structured. There's not going to be a
Okay.
lot of deviation in what
Got
they
it.
do.
So the routine of it
yes,
all. I'm sure
yes.
that's very helpful for a lot.
And then are we having to problem solve? No, because we've got a list.
You got your.
We
Just
know what we're doing.
breakdown.
Okay,
Yeah.
so not too dissimilar to educationally, the supports and things that help, like let's say kids on the spectrum.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Visual aids,
Yes.
structure, routine.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
that kind of thing.
And a lot of our
Carries over.
population is not going to handle the stress of things are different every day.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
I mean, we thrive on that, right?
Yeah,
Whatever comes today,
Yeah, something.
It's gonna be a
novel,
challenge.
Something novel and
but
unique. Yeah.
our population does not.
Yeah.
They have to learn to accept that,
Sure, it's part of life.
but they're not going to be successful if they're in a job where they've got to go in every day. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
so in what I said is that 19-year-old that's struggling with a job may not need 9 months. They may not,
Yeah.
but if they're struggling physically because
Okay.
they're tired,
Yes.
they're working 5.5 hours a day on their feet.
Yeah. So building the physical
Yes.
stamina.
And to say you just got to tough it out, some people aren't going to
Yeah.
be able to do that. So we definitely get them in physical better shape, ready to do whatever. Understanding how to communicate on the job, understanding that you called it water cooler, but understanding how to talk to your coworkers.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you're at lunch, you're free to do whatever you want to, but if you're listening to something that's inappropriate in the cafeteria, or if you're talking about something, or if you're,
Yeah.
people hear you,
Yeah.
and it's going to affect your
Yeah.
job.
Or for my guys, I could imagine more like everybody else hanging out and talking, and then
Yeah.
popping in their headphones and just like watching
And
YouTube
Yeah.
Jacob
for
would
10
do
minutes
that.
on
He
break.
tended to do that.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and withdrawing
And
from
that's
the social
okay.
interactions. You know?
That's okay if they're
Yeah.
if they're silent, but if
Yeah.
they've got it on and everybody
Yeah.
hears it, or
Oh,
if they're yelling at it, or if they're, the withdrawing that's what you need to recharge your battery.
Yeah.
That works. That's
Okay.
fine. But if you're doing that during work, that's a problem. You
Sure.
know, if you're escaping to do that
Oh, I've had
during
a few
work,
kids.
that's a problem.
Yeah, and I said one or two got fired for
yeah.
playing on their phones too
Yeah.
much. You know.
Yeah.
And then I'm running into the same issue too with it's not the job skills that are really bumping them the most. It's their emotional stuff. They're really still struggling with like mental health issues and anxiety and depression
Yeah.
and self-esteem and all the rest of that. And I feel like that seems, at least currently with kind of my current layout of kids, that seems like that's really the biggest thing, because they're super capable. I mean, these guys are smart dudes. They are.
But if you
Language,
get fired
advanced
and you get
IQs,
fired
high.
and you get fired,
Yeah,
there's a
that's-
yeah.
problem.
well, then for me, it's there, and I quit, and then I quit, and then I quit.
Yeah.
I can't. I get there,
Okay.
and
See
then I get
that.
so overloaded, and I'm so overwhelmed, and then it's just like it's too much for me, and then I just gotta quit. And then now we're in the cycle of like we've done 4 jobs in 4 months, but like we can't put any of those on a resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just quitting left and
Yeah.
right. That's the last thing you want to
Yeah.
be putting out there. So like. What do you do for if there's like a parent who's got a kid living at home, let's say a situation like that where like they're capable of doing the job. Their language is advanced. They're able to problem solve and think flexibly, and like they've got the skills to be able to do that. But emotionally, maybe they just can't hack it. What advice do you have for like a family like that? Like, is it like to limit the amount of numbers and slowly work them up, kind of building the calluses thing, start them off real slow, part time, and gradually rise? Because that was my piece of advice, but I don't really know what else to kind of say other than like, well, we got to keep working on all this emotional stuff and not let him just quit. you know. And
Yes.
what do they do, you know?
So if you have a diagnosed disability and you need help finding a job, you should contact DRS.
Okay.
They will look at your information, open up a file.
Okay.
They can approve you for a job coach. So they're not going to give you the job coach, they're going to give you the funding to get a job coach.
Where do you get a job coach? I thought that was something that like the state of DRS
Seems like
gives
it,
you.
but it's
That's
not.
how I thought. Yeah, that's how I always thought of
So,
it.
for example, we use Dale Rogers as
Okay.
our as our employment specialist. So
Okay.
there are companies that they just provide job
Oh,
coaches.
so this is a private company
Yes,
that
yes,
the state gives
yes.
you, the parent or the individual,
Yes,
money that
yes.
you can then go
Yeah.
and do. Oh, okay. I thought it was just one and the same.
But at DRS,
Mhm.
it's not the parent that's talking to them; it's the client.
The
So
individual.
whoever that person is going to have to reach out to DRS. Now the parent can
Okay.
help,
Sure. Sure.
but to get a job coach. Now the problem is we don't pay enough, so lots of companies don't have job coaches. You can call them and they'll say, Dale Rogers was not taking clients for a while because they didn't have any. They didn't have enough to
Okay.
service anybody new. We
Got
got these people. The job coach's responsibility is to get to know that person, which is not going to take very long. They're going to spend an hour with them.
Yeah.
And then they're going to job search for them. We're going to try to figure out what do you want to do, get them in a job that's appropriate for them. So a lot of what I do at the end of the program when I'm starting to look for jobs is I look at, okay, what do you want? What's important to you? And where are you going to fit?
Yeah, get a sense of prerequisite skills going
So-
into it kind of thing.
A lot of the kids that I work with, they need to be in a safe environment. So even if they have the skills for the job may not be appropriate for them
Okay.
because it's not safe.
Am I safe? What do you mean, like emotionally safe, supportive?
Okay.
Safe,
Everything,
like,
yeah.
Yes.
Very-
just
Yes.
physically.
Yeah.
Who are the coworkers that work there?
Okay.
What's the culture of the business?
Okay.
Is there somebody there? Does it look like a place that I would feel safe having my kid
Having
work?
a kid, Sure.
You know,
Sure.
and you're not necessarily going to know that by just looking at it. You might have to dig in
no
a little
doubt,
bit.
No doubt.
But I don't want them in a place where they're going to be taken advantage of,
Yeah.
because a lot of our people that are really great workers will give and give and give, and
Yeah.
then they take advantage or they get set up. So they're the fall guy. If there's a problem,
Sure.
they're going to get blamed.
Ooh,
And so, do we want that to
I
happen?
can see that.
And also, I want the management to see value. I don't want to, if I go in and they say no, if I go in and say, we got this person or somebody's interviewed, I'm not going to go in. They're going to apply and interview,
Yeah.
and they say no. I'm going to look around and go, what's the reason for the no? Is there a reason? So with Jacob, when he went in for this job that he currently has, they said no. I didn't go with him. One of my job coaches went.
Okay.
And he was sold on it. Jacob was like, this is the place I want to be. This is Nirvana.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, we'll wait and then we're going to wait a couple weeks and we're going to go back. So I took him back and I looked around and I talked to the owner, and there wasn't a reason for a no. So he just needed to be, I think the owner was not there during the first interview.
Oh, okay.
My job coach was maybe not as vocal as she should have been about what values we have.
Yeah,
I
okay.
want that individual to talk, but I'm going to be there to back them up. If there's any questions that they have, or if they didn't
Yeah.
fill in information completely, I'm going to do that. So the value of our program is we have lots of time, and we're going to make sure that all that stuff is taken care of. We're not just going to get them a job, which if you get a job coach through DRS, funded through DRS,
Yeah.
they're not going to know you like I know you, because I've spent 9 months with you. I know the
Yeah.
inside and outside
Sure,
of you.
sure,
I know
sure,
all your quirks. I know
Yeah.
what's going to make you mad. I know what's going to make you cry. I know all those things
Yeah.
because I've pushed you into all those
Sure.
areas. I'm going to make sure that the job that we get you is a good fit. You're capable of doing it, and it's a good fit as far as environment, as far as speed, as far as whatever other details we have. I'm going to try to look at that and place you in that kind of job. So the kids that you're working with that are struggling probably are just seeing a help wanted sign, or they're going on
Yeah.
Indeed and they're finding that
Yeah.
job. They don't know anything about it.
Got
You
it.
need to know a little bit about that place before you work there.
Okay.
You need to know, what do they do?
Scope it out. That's
Who's
one of the
there?
things I told
Hang on.
one
Yes.
of my dudes to do. There
Yes.
was a job at one
Yeah.
of the, I won't say the businesses, a restaurant down the street, and he was like, I think I'm going to go apply there. And I was like, go get lunch there. Just go by yourself. Go get some food and just sit at the table and then just observe.
Yeah.
Listen to the people. Check out the place. feel the sound, the sensory of the place, you know, just like the vibe, and then decide or whatever. And he went and he was like, oh yeah, it seemed super cool. Some of the people there were cool, and like the music was playing was rad. And so I was like, okay, all right, that seems all right. So that
But
was not
sometimes
bad advice.
super cool is not a great place to work though, because
Yeah.
it's super cool and you want to hang out there, but you're not hanging out, you're working.
You're working.
So yes, that was great advice.
Okay.
You definitely
Okay, so
should.
not bad advice.
No, good
Okay.
advice. But for some people, just because you think it's
doesn't
cool,
necessarily mean
Yes.
functional for you.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Okay.
it could be. And,
It could
and
be.
again, that's just
Sure,
individual.
Depends on the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what our program would provide, except for just a job coach, is we're gonna know you and we're gonna try to place you in something that's really best for you. A job coach is going to help you find a job. They're going to give you job leads. They're going to help you interview. They're going to stay with you for a few days on the job.
Training
A little
on the
bit.
job a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit, but very short.
Okay.
Like
Well, just like you
3
said,
or
1
4
hour.
hours,
They're
yeah,
gonna get
and
to know
then
you an
an
hour,
hour, and then
hey, let's go find you a job.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is just that's why it's
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
And for some people, they just are going to need more support, even if cognitively they're super high and they're
Yeah.
able to do
Sure.
academics. All
Yeah.
they just
But
they
the
can't handle.
practical
Yeah.
is different than the
Yeah,
theoretical.
and that's where I think parents miss out sometimes because they forget. I'm fighting for the academics. I'm fighting the school because they're not mainstreaming, because they're not doing the modification, because they're not whatever. And not that the schools shouldn't. The schools should
Sure.
follow the law and do
Sure.
their best.
Yeah.
But life happens, and we don't always do our best every day. Think about what's most important for that kid 5 years down the road. What's going to make a difference in their life?
Yeah.
Making friends is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Having relationships that are appropriate
Yeah.
and feed you. You know, the relationships you have is probably not the relationships that I have, and that's okay. They're different. Knowing what your style is and what's okay for you and what makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Maybe sitting by yourself. I mean, we use. So you said technology. You said kids got fired because they used their phone. So I really encourage the kids to carry their phones with them and use them as a tool.
Yeah.
It's a computer in your pocket. Use it as a tool.
That's where he got that.
Don't play. I mean, it's yours to play on it,
Dadgummit.
but
It's my Miss Jill said it's my tool. I have to have it.
but you take notes. We
But
take
for
pictures.
safety, I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
But it's,
We set alarms.
we did set the boundaries on that too.
And because they know they're not supposed to use their phone in class, but how many kids did?
Oh yeah.
They all did.
Yeah.
You know, you got to learn that it is yours and you should
Yeah, I
use
didn't.
it. You know, you should use it to help you, but you have to know what those boundaries are. And they don't always know that. So even looking at this is a cool place. And usually that's how kids find a job. They're like, oh, I like this place. I'm going to work here. Well, working here is not the same as hanging out here. So do you understand that?
Yeah.
I will
Having
work
your
the
lunch
bowling
just
alley
instead, yeah.
because I love bowling. Well, but you don't get to bowl.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
It's good. It's a good analogy. Kind of thing.
Understanding that work is a little bit different. And so with our program, we also do, and not all the project search programs are quite like mine because, I'm special. We do lots of volunteering, and any place I can go to work and do something, we're going to do, because I want them to see, what does a nasty warehouse look like? It might be a great place for you because you have hygiene issues and I can't fix them. So a stinky warehouse is a great place for you to work.
You smell like ass, so we're gonna get.
I didn't say that.
She meant it.
It was implied. It was implied. They don't know what they want to do because they've never tried it.
Yeah.
And so we try to give them, we have 3 different rotations in the hospital. So they'll do 3 totally different jobs in different areas.
Cool.
And they'll do that for 9 or 10 weeks each. So they have that experience. But I also want them to know, what does it feel like to work in a retail store? What does it feel like to stock groceries?
Yeah.
So we'll go to the food pantry and we'll stock food. Not exactly like working in a grocery store, but very similar.
Get a flavor for it. Yeah, you can taste it.
Something that you keep saying is we let them, and they did this, them. And the thing that as parents, it was really hard for me is that we're so used to being in the IEP. We're supposed to be, we're the headhunter here. We're ones that are going to run this the way we want to for our child back here in the corner. The thing is with this, and what she taught us, is that you quickly took the parent out of the perspective and just said, that's the thing is, it's like, you be careful what you wish for because you might get it. And that's what she did. So, respectfully,
Yeah.
making me feel like it. useless turd. But no, but it was so good to like go, okay, because what I thought was this, and what you just did was that, and that, oh my gosh, there we go. It's another one of those moments that we need as parents because we're so used to a certain thing and doing it, just like I said earlier, nurturing, nurture, we'll get to this point. Yeah. They don't need that anymore. If they really want to get out and get to those points, and that's the thing, is you helped us understand that, oh my gosh, it is about what he wants. It is about what this, and that's the whole purpose. That's the reason we're here. It's the reason you and I are talking. It's because for the betterment of them, and let's let him guide it. And it's been really good. Now we're just again to the point to where we need to be doing it even more so. Okay. But you need that jump start, and that's the thing is that it was like finding him because I know Jacob, he would love to go work in like CDR or vintage stock. Yeah. I love Funko Pop. He would sit and he'd be there, the little rep that would walk around that one aisle. But it was very instrumental in the way that.
So she was kind of a kick in the ass for you.
Oh, in the crotch, in the ass. I mean, she would hold me down, a little.
Just to switch your mindset.
Oh yeah, and sometimes she had to do that. Yeah. Is that because again we're stuck like we've been with them 22 years. We're the expert on this kid. Yeah. Who are you to tell us this? And then we're like, heckgummit.
Is the issue like for you as a parent, was it like, okay, so for the last 16, 17, 18, whatever, like years of life with this child, the focus for me was like, what do I need to do to like make this all work? And then there had to be a switch at some point to like letting somewhat like off the reins to letting them figure out how
I have to orchestrate
to make it work. Like
I'm the puppeteer.
The shift.
I need to be in there. We need to be a part of it. We need to be the puppeteer. We need to be the one that's running this meeting. But then it got to where it was so quickly that it took a few times. That's why I said when we first met her, it's the abrasiveness because we're like. You did that it so long, but it's just like, no, shut up. Listen to what I'm telling you. She didn't say that. Yeah. She's very kind in the way she did it. But it was just that I needed that. Okay. Danielle and I, we both needed it. She was more already sold, but then I'm like, what does she know? This is what we want over here. Yeah. But it was just something that, and we let Jacob kind of take that reign in that first job. And I'm with you. I'm kind of the same way as far as like, did I feel that was the best place? I wanted some other things, but let's just start here. Yeah. But now to the point like, let's just go. Sure. And it gets to the point to where, not to say that, we're going to post Jill's number on the bottom of the screen. Call her at night. Any questions, problems. No, it's just a matter. She is so good to like, if we want to bounce something off of like, hey, what do you think about this? Or how about this? Well, now Jacob is, and she's very quick to tell us just that experience. Because again, job coach, couple hours, let's go find you a job. And we know a lot of people that have gone that route, and it's not to discredit it at all.
It's better than nothing.
It's better than exactly. Yeah. But
it's not what it could in a perfect world. Like,
but being involved in this is just something that's like, man, you got your bag of tools when you get done. They've had every experience. And again, nasty warehouse, pizza shop, a hospital, you name it. And then the other things they get to go do, man, I get to go whitewater rafting and all that stuff. Fun things. Cool. They get to do all these things, but it's a program that just gives them such a sense of individualized. That's just such a sense of power for them to be a part of their own decisions. Yeah. Now it does backfire again.
Yeah, to build that autonomy.
I'm buying this, or I tell him, you need to get in here and help us out, or I'm going to take your remote from your TV. I bought that TV. That was with my own money. Mm-hmm. So we got lots of things that go on. But now, again, it was we just needed that kick in the face to say, and she's holding our hands as she's punching us in the face. But she's got her hand guiding us through the process. It's like that let go, let God. Let go, let
yeah.
Okay. Well, I came from high school. So I taught high school for 12 years, I think. And I saw parents struggling with what's important. I'm a pretty strong personality and I know what I think is right, but ultimately I don't have to keep these kids. They're not mine. I love them, but they're not going to live with me. Yeah. So you got to have, but you're not always the last voice either as the parent. Understanding that, you got to give that voice to your kid. They've got to have some tie-in. Yeah. But when I came to Project Search, I learned I needed to say to parents, I don't want to talk to you because they're my client. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you, but you better have discussed this with your kid first, because you're not my important person.
This is their thing, not your thing.
Yeah.
And so in the interview, I'll say that, before you call me and ask me questions, you better check out with them, because I don't want to talk to you guys. Now, I want to hold your hand and I want to pull you along, but you're not my focus.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
a lot
it's
of
tough
parents.
love, it sounds like.
And it is, but it was so
It's
warm.
like
It's so welcoming now, because it's like, man, God, do we need
a
that?
breath of fresh air.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not just blowing smoke
Yeah.
at my ass. It's not just
Yeah.
all the rest of
But
it.
I've
There's
had a lot
balance.
of parents not like me, even in high school. When I was a high school teacher, they're like, oh man, I didn't like you. But, their kids with me for 6 or 7 years, so they get to like me because they see, oh, okay, she's not just the queen of her island. She is also helping me figure out how to build the boat and get where we need to go.
Advocate for my child and all the rest of it. Yeah. Man, that's amazing.
And I'm not going to lie to you. There's certain things I can't divulge to you, but I'm going to tell you as much truth as I'm able to.
And we may not like it, but it's refreshing to know, because we've been on the other side of it. We've dealt with clock punchers that have been in that position that are just going to tell you what they need to, so to avoid any confrontation. Oh, it's such a great idea, or whatever. It was just refreshing. Like, we're to the point now. Don't bullshit a bullshitter. Tell me. I need to know for their benefit, just to get them to the next point. Because I will say it until my dying breath. They're with us until we're gone, and they need to be prepared for what's next, and whatever that may be. So the more prepared, the more it is that they have their own voice, and that starts as early as possible. I mean, the better it's going to be.
And I want you to know you're not going to be here forever.
Are you crazy?
So
she lies.
you better
We've
plan.
already discussed this. He's going to live forever.
Well, but parents don't have that thought, and
no, they don't.
Nobody wants to tell them that.
It scares me to death to know it.
So even if your kid is never going to be living on their own or independent, at some point somebody's going to have to take over what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you want them to have a voice, because otherwise, what happens?
Not good things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's super important, and getting to know who you are and what's important to you is not something we teach. We don't teach kids to know who they are. And I mean, they're growing, and when you're in school, there's only so much, but we should be asking them what's important to you. What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? You should know that. I know. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what your strengths and weaknesses are? Yes. Do our kids that we're serving?
No.
They have no idea.
It's the very first thing. It's the first lesson in my curriculum.
Okay.
The very first thing.
Well, they might say I'm good at reading or I'm good at math, but they don't know what,
Yeah, I've got an entire list. I've got this brain that's broken up into different sections, and then I've got this massive list of all the different things, from academic to social to emotional to functional, and a whole thing. And they have to go through and connect the dots and draw the things of the things that their brain makes very easy for them, and the things that are very more challenging for them, to kind of put it all together and shift their focus. Because some kids come through and they're like, self-awareness might not be the best skill for them. And I'm great at everything. What are you talking about? And you're like,
yes.
Or the other way around, where they're just like, oh, I'm bad at this and I'm bad at this. And they don't see their strengths and their innate things, And then I've got all that. And then on the back of the sheet, I have a whole breakdown that is okay, you said that this was your strength. Well, that means you're going to be amazing at these kinds of things, and you should try to do more things like this. Or this could be a job for you down the road where that particular skill is super important. Or here's recreational activities that you might really enjoy getting involved in high school that are based off of this strength or whatever. And I feel like that's such an important thing that doesn't get addressed. So the first thing that we do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're preaching to the choir.
I'm telling you, see, man, I'm just glad I get to hang out and just share about you guys. I've been making doing songs in my head as y'all are talking.
Yeah.
All this wisdom.
Well, I'm sorry. Obviously, I've never met you before, and truly, I think this is so important and so fascinating. So I'm sorry if I somewhat
told you kind of like her.
Yeah, somewhat took over there a little bit.
No, you didn't. That was good.
I just think that, and again, it's been so refreshing just to see that there gets to be a point where we don't have to be that 100% parent. One doing everything, being just their whole world, doing this, that, whatever it might be. That him just being able just to drive away from dropping him off to go, and he walks in the door, and you know how Jacob is. It doesn't matter where he is. I mean, we were at the DMV, opened the door to go get his identification, and there was 9 million cars and people, and the lines were long. Open the door. Oh, hi everybody!
Hi everybody!
And everybody looked back at us like, I will burn your face off, and but Jacob's just bopping in there. But that's the way it's so refreshing to get to a point where we're walking to his job. He walks in, hello everybody, and so excited to be there. Tells us his day or how his night went when we go pick him up. Amazing. It's nice to see that there is that individual that gets to go do those extra things. And there's always the questions of, why does brother get to do this? Why does sister get to do this? Why can I? And the thing is, we sat down the other day and wrote down his social calendar, everything else. I'm like, dude,
I can imagine.
Here's your list. Here's their list, and here's mom and dad's list.
No kidding.
And he's just like,
you don't have a list. Come on.
Mom and dad don't do anything. I hit that chair of death when I get home. I was like, and we had that argument this morning. Yeah, we're supposed to talk all night last night. You hit the chair. Wake me up. Whatever. I'll wake you up. But yeah, it's been nice because it's just like we get to finally see that, just to get to see him as an individual, not just our kid.
Yeah.
You get to do stuff and having
See
a good time. Having a
being
blast.
an autonomous, an independent adult doing his own
nice.
thing.
And again, there's a lot of people that their child may not be at that level, but it's like, just at least go out there and attempt something, because the schools, just like you said, some of the schools that they're overwhelmed. They're just trying to get through the year with those kids and to have that extra stuff, and especially even in the IEP, parents on that side. I mean, do you think that that's one of the, or what would you say? I know we're coming kind of to the close, but what would be like the biggest mistake that a parent could make in their kid's life? Like, if you wanted to get to that point, what's the biggest mistake that, as a parent, that you see?
I think just not having expectations. Just we're just plodding through, and we're doing what we've got to do, and we're fighting about what we need to fight, but we're really not seeing that child as an individual with value and having expectations that they can do whatever that is.
And it's been so nice. I have to say, I thank you very much for coming and hanging out with us, because that's the thing. I told them the first one, first group of people I want to get in here, but like, just as far as just what you've meant to our family and to so many others, it's just, we're finally to the point where really, I mean, we're seeing our lives we thought here we were. We're here just like when they were born. I had my set thing. Sure. Oh, they got disabilities. What do we do now? Oh, let's make a new list. Well, now it's just to the point where, like, okay, this is what we're thinking at this time. Oh crap, we can start doing this and this. So it's like we're making these new lists as we're going along, and it's so nice to know that there's just opportunities and seeing. So and we have Harrison coming up before too long, and who knows what's going to happen. And like I said, we may get the Partridge Family bus and hit the road and just entertain on street corners if we have to.
I think the snow cone stand with the stage on the side, so we can have some entertainment at the snow cone stand. This was my dream, but it was my dream, so I didn't make you have it.
We've thought food truck, because a long time I was going to have a food truck.
Okay.
I was going to do this, and then have a little stage over Harrison playing piano, and
Elton John
glasses, and Jacob in the back with the something or other. Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. But anyway,
sorry, the visual was just great. Of just Harrison and Jake just grabbing the mic.
People just rocking out.
I feel like there might be a feather boa somewhere.
There must be.
Why not?
So I want to say kudos to our education partners that are putting money into this, because like, I get paid from Canadian Valley. I'm their employee. Yeah. But DRS is putting in lots of money. DRS is a tool that lots more people need to be using. They've got money to spend. Okay. You just got to ask. Okay. You got to apply. They can help with jobs. They can help with anything that relates to employment. So if somebody wants to go to college and they need some help and they have a disability, they could reach out to DRS. I'm not saying they definitely could, but that's an application. Okay. They can help with driver's ed. They have a specialized driving program that they'll drive one-on-one.
Very cool. Adults only? Okay, both? Mm-hmm. Yeah, somewhere 16 to 25 or
no, anywhere. That's not a transition.
Okay,
I don't
got
think.
It.
I think that's just so anything that relates to employment. If you're talking about, somebody's getting a job and they need uniforms, they don't have money to buy uniforms, they're going to help with that.
Great.
DRS is there to help with employment. Maybe they want to go to a tech center and do a short-term class. They can help with that. Cool. So it really is a resource that is not being utilized.
Yeah, I imagine.
In fact, if they don't use it, they're going to lose money. Yeah. And that they kind of had that from the government last year they didn't use enough.
Got it.
So it's there, and it's not. But again, I think it's a resource that not enough people know about.
Sure.
I mean, there are limitations, and not everything's going to be great,
No
but
doubt.
you got to knock on all those doors
Yeah,
because there's not much out there.
Yeah.
You know, I hear so often that there's nothing for kids after high school. There's nothing. Well, there
There
is,
is, yeah.
but you got to seek it out.
You got to know
And
where to look.
anything with the government, you got to know where to look. You got to know how to ask. You got to know what you need.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with an IEP. When you go in, you need to know, what do you need?
Yeah.
The answer may be yes or no, but you need to figure out what is it you need. And that's where you need to know your kid. Your kid needs to know themselves because they can't advocate for what they need if they don't know what it is. So just getting the word out that there are some partners out there that can help.
Awesome.
You saying that, and this, I'm going to transition really quickly into the question, but you know, we talked about like DCP, Disabled Children's Program, through DHS, early with the boys. Danielle, through digging and just, I mean, that woman she is, I don't know what else she is. She's some kind of weird creature, digging and finding things. But basically, DCP program we had there through Miss Carmen, we had swings, we had therapeutic, all the tricycles, anything, books, whatever she deemed like, hey,
therapeutic
this would be great for them.
Yeah.
But when we went up there, we talked to the director there, Canadian Valley, and he said, do you realize that you are one of like 2 people that use this program, and all that money goes back and nobody knows about this program, and it's there for for the picking. And we had a giant therapeutic equipment. I mean, we gave it to or allowed other people to use it for kids just to be a part of. But anyway, you had that. Nobody knew about it. You had all these things again. You're part that not a lot of people know about it. And the thing is, one of the things we saw in statistics the other day is we're talking earlier about the homeless population.
Yeah.
How, you know, our population of our children's population of disability is growing, and the jobs are still right where they're at, and the programs that people aren't finding. So there's such a population of children or adults now that are homeless that have these issues. So if you could tell me just one thing, the quick thing, or one answer, how can we as parents or other individuals get the word out to broaden this program, to make it bigger, make it serve more people?
I don't know. Use your voice. I'm not sure.
I'm just saying that, and that's the thing is like, is there whose door am I knocking on, like just kicking it in and saying, why don't we have more?
Well, I think that is part of the issue, because we don't have. There's no way for a person, a parent of a child with a disability, to go to this clearinghouse and find out all this information.
Yeah, exactly.
And we get into disability. What'd you call it? Categories now.
Compartmentalization. Yeah.
So I use Down syndrome because Down syndrome babies are diagnosed immediately. There's somebody that comes to visit them in the hospital. The parents are connected and they know what's going on. And that's why they are better organized, because there is that community from birth.
I've also seen like a homogeneity amongst them as well.
Yes.
In some
Okay.
ways.
Yes.
I feel like that's one of the hardest bits for the spectrum in particular, is that it is such a wide spectrum. It's so diverse that it makes it really, really tough to have any kind of like succinct services that work for everybody and others.
I don't know how we fix that, but we get into categories. I don't want to be labeled. I don't want to talk about my disability. My child's not as disabled as you, and that's great, because we need to hold on to that. My kid has value, but my kid can do.
Yeah, my kid's more than a diagnosis, absolutely.
But how do you share information then? How do you, I used to be pretty involved with some support groups, but they're so negative.
Yeah.
It just becomes this place where people are just complaining. And I get maybe they need that too.
Sure.
But how do you have connection with those people and find out what the good stuff is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't.
But it's like
I think
they don't
DRS
like to talk to each other either, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. And because, it gets into the hierarchy of my kid can do more, yet yours is not as, I don't know. Yeah. I like to talk about disability with the interns that I work with. I want them to know, I don't care what your diagnosis is. Yeah. I want to know, how does it affect you? Yeah. What's harder for you because of your disability? You need to own that, because if you're going to go into the world, you need to be able to say, hey, Dwayne, sometimes I have trouble coming up with words. So if I can't give you an answer right away, I'm going to say, let's put a pin in that, and I'm going to come back to it. And I won't forget, but...
So you can self-advocate
Yes.
based off of your own
and understand,
awareness.
it doesn't have to be, I have ADHD and it makes me crazy.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be that,
Yeah.
whatever. It just has to be, how does it affect you in life?
Yeah.
Whether it's social relationships, whether it's work, whatever.
Yeah.
So you understand, and people around you can understand, because they're going to be more likely to give you a break. When people hear disability, they want to run. They're afraid for the most part. They don't know. They don't want to offend. They don't want to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But they're just humans.
Yeah.
So you just got to give them what you would give anybody else,
Yeah. The problem that we saw, as I was working on, like I don't know if you remember this, but a men's support group, just a father's group.
Yeah.
Just because mothers, you walk into any support group and you got the inappropriate denim moms over here, then the other.
Why are they inappropriate?
Because there's 3 different shades.
Don't
They've
hate the
got
denim jumper.
elastic waistbands, but you have but all these different little cliques within the cliques, but they're all like 90 women, and there's 2 scared dudes in a corner that I go, hey, let's stick together. But wanted to get it out and just to get to where we're more in tune to the problems that we have, just as parents of children with disabilities, not compartmentalizing and saying this disability, that one. And I went to directors of all these different programs and all these different disabilities to talk to them about the processes. And it was met with, nah, we have our own group. We do our own group. And yeah, you do. That's not what we want to do. We just want to do, what things can we all do together just so that we can get the word out of different things that we can all benefit from. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter what group I went to. We have our own thing. Thank you, though. I mean, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but we've got to already have our own thing. Well, there's not a father's group out there, hardly. I don't know any of them that are out there. They're just support groups that are there, but it was like, why are you going to take our dads away? And then, why are you going to take our dads away? And they're going to be with that disability too, and this one? It just doesn't, that's not something we want to even think about. And that was the thing, it's just a problem, is that we're kind of kicking our own self in the face, in the sense that we could have such a grand voice together. I see certain disabilities that have events going on. I saw one the other day on Facebook, and it was attended by, it just was the pageantry of it, everything. I'm like, why not everybody? Why can't we all have? Because it's so amazing. And it was just as frustrating as me, as a person that wants to get the word out there to help community and other people that are coming up. But it's just like, so many more people can be serviced if we just, I don't know, grow up a little bit. It's like, it's just a matter of, I get it.
Focus on the things that we share in common.
Exactly. Instead of the things,
for sure.
It's kind of the things like you look at, I can go on this tangent for a long time.
Yeah, that's a whole
I can say some
podcast
dirty,
onto its
nasty
own.
words
Yeah, for sure.
and other things.
Sure.
But again, I think it's just if they could see, if more people could see the work that it's done for our family and the families that we know, it would be.
Yeah. I think a lot more people will. I think this will hopefully help to kind of start to get the word out a little bit more, and I'll do my best to post some links and educate people throughout the post too, to help try to get that out there. So Jill, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Genuinely appreciate
Thanks for
you coming
having me.
out and taking the time, and is that your tummy? Oh, it must be time. So on that note, thank you. And if there's any other resources you want to send to me that you want me to kind of post along with this stuff,
Sure.
I'm happy to do all that. And
this is where the giant applause will come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. It's there. Just,
okay.
No, it'll come. Yeah.
All right.
It's not there.
It's okay.
Anyway.
I am a teacher. I don't need applause.
Yeah.